All right, so what we got is change is happening right now. I've been giving some of these away. Actually, anybody that's signing up for Sam Radar this week gets a free one. It's Who Moved My Cheese. If you haven't read this book, this is a fantastic book because if you're not watching what's happening in your marketplace, and we're going to talk a lot about that today, if you resist change, you're going to die. And if you accept change, you might survive. But if you embrace that change, you'll thrive. I remember hearing this on Fed Radio. It was kind of like this quote. Steve Van Rokel was the original first U.S. CIO. And he said this, and I was like, that absolutely makes perfect sense. So, and we see change all the time, right, Peter? We see it all the time.
Absolutely.
So let's start this way. What's one word for doing business with the government? Put that in the chat for us. I want to make sure that everybody can chat to everybody. My apologies on that. And if we got some other folks. I know Brian Hebel's out today. He's got a session with one of the big primes that he's working on. So what's one word for doing business with the government? Pop that in the chat for me. Let me grab this real quick. I'm going to grab the selling to the government handouts for everybody so that gets ready. So pop that in for me. And as we get to know each other, while you're doing that, I do want to get to know you. I want to know if you've been around for a little bit or maybe you just started last week. But pop that in. Let us know about that. And I'm going to adjust one thing from my handout so that everybody can get to me. Where's the session docs? Here we go. There we go. We got the session docs. I'm going to put that with my contact information so everybody can get it. All right. This is it. Boom. Session docs. Boom. Take this down here and bop. All right, here's my information for everybody. All right, let's see. Let's see what people are saying. Maria, challenging. Todd, mysterious and complicated. I love that. There's Todd Crane. Good to see you, man. Hang on a second. I want to see how you say your name. Hold on one second. So is it Jorg or is it Jorg or George? Jorg? Jorge? How do you say your name? Mr. Para?
It's Jorge, but make it George.
Jorge. All right.
Yeah,
fantastic.
make it George in English, and that's it.
All right, man. You'll take anything, just don't call you late for dinner, right?
There you go.
I love it. So you said annoying. So why did you say annoying?
Well, I think there are too many double standards in this system.
No way.
Well, listen, you have to work with so many different requests, so many layers of guarantees, and so many demands from the government to registration and make sure that you have everything there in place. And then you have President Trump, who would never classify even for a secretary job, and he made president. So I can't understand the double standard.
Hey, guess what? I can't understand the double standards either. And you know what? I don't care how anybody voted, left, right, blue, red. What do we care about? What do we care about, Jorge?
I would care about the federal system working for everybody the same.
I'd appreciate that too. I don't know if it'll ever be that way, but what is the color that we care about though? If we don't care about red and blue, what do we care about?
Green.
Green, baby. That's right. That's right. We can't solve all the problems, Jorge. We're not even in the mix. They didn't even ask us to help them solve the problems, Jorge.
Definitely.
They did not. I love it. I love it. But anyway, appreciate you, man. I'm going to mute you up. Let's see who else. Scott says juggernaut. That's the first time I've heard that one, Scott. Kevin Bookman, complicated. That's a fact. Zeev, insanity. Good words. Good words. Michael, goal. I like that. Keith says promising. And let's see who else has anything. Anybody else? Cumbersome, Jennifer. Yes, I would agree. Ali, biggest client. Kathy, paperwork. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? And Kevin Bookman has the right color. Christopher, lucrative. I love it, love it, love it. For everybody that's popping up, I'm going to put this in. We have the session docs in there. We do have a few things to run through. And as we get to know each other, I'm going to end this poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 66% participatory, Todd. We're going to have to smack some wallflowers around, I think. Anybody last second going to pop in? All right, going to end the poll. Here we go. Here's what we got. 9% brand spanking new and 45% 20 years plus. 42% have direct federal contracts. Love it. 27% is a sub or a teaming partner, and 39% don't have anything yet, and that's why we're here. Am I right about there's Rob Lundholm coming in from Sam Radar. Awesome, man. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Hey,
All right, so the setup for today for everybody. With change comes opportunity, and the second part of it is how can we leverage change? The key word there is change. We cannot control the change, but we can leverage that change. What do you think about that, Peter? You believe it?
I believe it 100%.
100%. 100%. All right, so the hot seat questions. I'm hoping Rafa pops in because I got, oh, you're on? Rafa's here? He's not here. Not on my meeting, he's not. Hold on a second. Do you guys see him? I don't see him. Let me see if he's in the.
You just
There he is. There he comes.
Lucy, I'm home.
All right, I'm gonna make you a co-host so that you can actually show up. Don't ask me what's happening with Zoom. All right, we're just getting into the hot seat questions. Rafael Marrero.
Yes.
And I definitely want your insight on some of this. So I'm gonna ask this: what are we seeing now? What's most important come when the new transition happens? And how can you get positioned to win in 2025? Because we're just about there, right, Todd Crane?
It's coming.
It's coming, baby. All right. So for everybody here, disclaimer, we're not affiliated with any federal agency, and it does not guarantee an award. Can you believe that? I know it's shocking, everybody. If you're a Govy, we love Govy participation. Raise your hand for me so we can introduce you and where you're from. And it will never be an indication of endorsement of or a commitment to purchase from any vendor that's here. That's what GSA tells us to tell you so that you can participate. If you got questions, raise your hand. Put it in a Q&A. Anybody raise their hand for being a Govy? No Govies today, Todd. Just former Govies, apparently.
Yeah.
Former Govies we got. We love the feedback. If you click on this for me and make sure you can get to this, and it looks like this, your top, the session docs. Oh, that's not FPDS session docs. Don't pay attention to that. It's this session docs. Bam. FPD, I copied and pasted that. Can everybody give me a thumbs up that you can get to this? That it actually looks like this when you get there, because you can download the stuff that we have here. Anybody? All right, fantastic. Some of them. If you can't, let me know so we can get it to you in another way. All right, good job. Fantastic, guys. Appreciate it. All right, this session, we will connect you with experts. We'll be discussing what does work to help you pursue federal work and shameless. I'm talking about 100% shameless plugs for sponsors and people that are here, like Sam Radar. We're going to be talking about that a lot. And the sponsors that we have, Todd Crane will talk a little bit about what you do as well, but shameless plugs for throughout this whole thing. I'll tell you what, the reason why is because we can't do it alone. I didn't do it alone. Todd didn't do it alone. Rafa didn't do it alone. God bless me. I know Rob Lundholm didn't do it alone. So we are in Q1 for fiscal year 25. Guess what? We're almost through Q1, right? We only have 20 more days in Q1, right, Todd?
That's it. If that.
Right. Plus with the holidays and everything. I know some companies that shut down too for the holidays. So
yeah,
some defense contractors.
Yeah, and it makes sense because there's not a lot of work done.
Good conduct.
All right, for the session docs, everybody got those session docs? In there, you will find a winnable opportunity matrix. I'm going to use pieces of that today. We're going to be talking. I'm not going to go too deep into the spending report, but you should, because it's the preliminary spending report for 2024. It doesn't include DOD because DOD takes 90 days. So we're going to do a final as of January. We'll release that. So in the next session, you'll get the final for that. And we have fiscal year to date spending report, which shows us some really interesting things that we'll talk about today. We got our capabilities, we got partner capabilities and other propaganda that you just cannot live without. Some of what you're going to see today in this preliminary spending report. This is the focus for today. I'm going to help you out. All this data is provided by two government systems. Two, FPDS.gov, which is where the contracting officers put the contracts that are awarded, and SAM.gov, which is where you see opportunities. So in looking at this, I throw everything in here by number of offers received. Does everybody agree? Give me a thumbs up if you agree that if you're one of 5 people that respond, that looks like a short list and you want to be on that short list. Thumbs up if you understand. That's what the categorization is, right? Now, take a look at this. This is unprecedented. 80% of the contracts, number of offers received are not reported or won, which this is in 2019, this was 36%. Now it's 80%. And if you ask any contracting officers, if it's not reported, it usually means won. 60% of the dollars, 80% of the contracts, 60% of the dollars. This means what? How much competitors are there? How many, Peter? How many competitors are there?
Very few and a great
Nothing.
opportunity.
Nothing.
Right.
There's nobody. Not anybody. Now, we could talk about the 5 or fewer. That's 89% of the contracts and 93% of the dollars. Who wants to be here in this shortlisted state? How many of you? Thumbs up if that's where you want to live. This is unprecedented. We haven't seen this before, and it continues to go this way. Where do you want to spend your time? You want to spend it here and be one of the 5, or you want to spend it here and have more competitors than 5? Less than 5 or less, or more than 5. I want to spend my time here. This is the other part that we have. This is what showed up on SAM.gov for all of fiscal year 2024. And compare that to the number of contracts that are awarded. And if this doesn't blow your mind, you're in the wrong place, Rob Lundholm. If this does not blow your mind that 5.8 million contracts were awarded that were not showing up on SAM.gov, that's what I'm talking about. And that's why we're going to talk about monitoring real time. We're seeing stuff real time happen right now. We're going to talk about that. Now, my question for you is, did you know about the 98%? Be honest. Did you know about the 98%? Yes, then it was crazy. Maybe you knew something was happening and you knew that you were missing something, but not 98%. Or know this is the first time you're hearing about it, or maybe you just don't even believe me. And I love to hear people tell me they don't believe me because I'll prove it to you in just a minute. So, and if you want to compete for the 98%, let me know as well. This is, now while you're doing this, this delta is why we have to monitor contract activity. I just did an FPDS thing last week. It was rocking. This is monitoring FPDS. That's what you need to do. Then we can engage. We're going to talk about engagement, Rob Lundholm, and I want to get your insight on some of the things that you're seeing. So we can do what? So we can build relationships. If we don't build relationships, we're going to lose. So we can influence the acquisition process, start to finish. Right, Rafa? Are you sharing out your camera, Rafa? I don't see you.
I am.
Where are you?
I don't see him either.
Wait a minute.
You're,
What do you mean?
you're
What do you
tall,
mean?
dark,
What
and
are you
handsome if
talking
you're
about?
that
What are you
black
talking
box
about?
right there.
I've been participating in what's going on here? Hang on.
You need to get out of the bathtub and take your thing.
Here, I'm gonna
There he is.
There he is.
I'm gonna leave my VA meeting and step out of my bubble bath.
For those of you who don't know what we're joking about, telework and being working from home has created some firestorms for the VA folks because a VA person worked from a bubble bath. So You know, I'm not
Not
going to
good
say
look.
whether or not
Not a good
I've
look.
performed meetings in my liquid office or not, but I will tell you this, Rafael Marrero, I'm not taking pictures of it.
No, no.
Nobody wants to see
Please
that.
don't.
No,
Please don't. Please don't.
nobody, nobody. As buff as I am, it's all
No,
it's
es
all
bueno.
big mystery. That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right. So we want to influence the acquisition process, right, Rafa? And we want to
Absolutely.
minimize the competition, right?
Yep.
Why? So we can freaking win. That's why
Yeah.
we're doing it. That's why we're doing it. All right. So, hot seat questions. Here we go. What are you seeing right now? I'm going to show you some things. I want to ask you, Rob, because you're getting feedback from people as well. What
I'm
are you
ready.
seeing right now? This cartoon of the day comes from Jay Talbot on our Monday roundtables. I don't think he's here, but I want to give him a shout out. What are you seeing right now so we can make mountains of money from being prepared? So what are you seeing, Rob?
Oh, great question, Dave. We are actually seeing a significant uptick in RFIs, sources sought, free solicitations. Again, we don't know what's going to happen in January. We don't know what the ramifications are going to be, but what we're seeing right now are sources sought notices and RFIs, which tells us that contracting officers have something they want to put out. They don't want to do a solicitation, receive 150 bids. They want engagement, submitting of a capability statement or a basic scope of work, engage with a couple of those companies, and we're seeing those turn directly into contract awards, never becoming a solicitation or going back out. Sources sought, RFI, direct contract awards, seeing that all day, every day.
That's new for this time of year. That's something that's unique, right?
It's like we looked at the numbers, a week ago, and it was 400% over what it was last year.
Amazing. 400%. Wow.
And so for those of you who aren't familiar, so RFI stands for request for information, right? And sources sought, what are they looking for with sources sought oftentimes, Rafael Marrero? What are they looking for?
They're looking to get a feel for the lay of the land to see what providers out there can help them with their product or service that they're looking for, right? And that's when they start defining the acquisition strategy. So it is the single most important phase of the procurement process. You need to get involved early on. That's a phase right there.
And so for you, Todd, because you used to do some of these contracting things, you were involved in some of this as a govie. When you put out a sources sought, or you were looking for that, is it mostly for set aside type things, or is it more for finding somebody that can actually fulfill a particular job?
So typically, now I didn't do a lot of the sources sought, that side of things, but typically if we put stuff out like that, it's because we had questions, or there was something that we're unsure. Maybe we're, if we're buying the same things over and over again, we're not typically using sources sought. So if we're using sources sought, that means we're doing something new.
Right.
And so at least that's from our office. So
Yeah. So, and it's different by different agency, right?
yeah, absolutely.
So Kevin Bookman, have you ever responded to an RFI or sources sought?
Yes, sir.
What is the process for that?
It's basically facilitating and describing the services that you offer to solve the problem that the government is looking for.
And when you did that, it's not always, it's not even a formal RFP. It's not a formal RFP yet, right?
No.
No, but I mean, some of the documentation requirements in the RFI can be lengthy, or it can be short and sweet, limited to just a couple of pages.
And Peter Timbus, you work with helping folks get funding and look like they belong and have the financial fortitude to be able to do these contracts. Do you find that folks that are responding to an RFI or even an RFP, do you find that providing them with, what do you call that when you provide them a letter? What is the letter?
Yeah, that's called a financial letter of support. And we've seen a big uptick in the last 2 weeks. I think last week we issued about 16 of those. that will accompany your request that goes back to the government that says, should they choose you for this opportunity, that you've got the financial capability to perform on that. And we lend to the opportunity. So even though you may be a small company and you may sit, well, if I win that, I don't have the financial backing to handle that. With us, you do, because we have unlimited access to capital for you. If you win the opportunity, we'll be there for you. So don't let your current financial situation prevent you from bidding on any of this, because we have the solutions for you.
Yep.
We lend you your opportunity rather than your financial statements. Our financing can be, for the 69 participants that are here, can be a game changer.
I agree. And that's what we call a shameless plug for Peter Timbus and TFN. In case you were wondering if we were actually going to perform shameless plugs.
Yeah.
That is one of them right there.
Us never.
Never happened. So
No way.
So I want to pull something up real quick, because I'm going to show like some activity components that we're seeing on. We're also seeing solicitations. I was talking to Matt Sweet from Divine, one of our clients, and they're seeing an uptick in RFPs as well in their space. But part of it is as a result of responding to an RFI, because they can restrict things, right? So it might be that. So here we have solicitations. Here's a classic, a pre-solicitation for total small business set aside. Let's see, another one. That's a solicitation. If you're wondering what I'm looking at a piece of SAM radar to show me what's happening real time in the space. And I want to talk about, again, shameless plug, the importance of real-time monitoring, because if you didn't know that since the election there's a 400% increase in RFIs and sources sought, it's because you didn't see it. And we see 250% increase in RFPs this week. And if you're not real-time monitoring, you're not seeing it. And oh, by the way, 94% still not hitting SAM.gov this week. So there's an uptick in RFPs, which means we don't know why, right, Rafael Marrero? We don't know why. We just know that it's happening. Now, we have theories about it, that the Biden administration's shooting out money as fast as they can. That's one theory, right? But do you really care why? Or do you care that it's happening?
Well, I think it's important to understand why, because you need to align with the business practices, right? To align your sales strategy. But the fact that it's happening is far more important. But it's important to understand why, because that can go away or it can change, right, at any given moment.
That's right. And trying to explain the government, I've tried to explain some things that the government does. You just can't explain them. Right, Jorge? Because it's wacky. That's because it's wacky. Right? It's absolutely wacky. It doesn't operate the same way. The red tape, the duplicity of things, all those things. So as we're looking at monitoring, I want to ask the question of what you want to monitor. You want to monitor pre-solicit. You can choose as many as you want, by the way. Pre-solicitations, sources sought, RFPs and RFQs, because that can include GSA, right? They could be putting stuff on GSA. And it may be on DIBS. It may be different places, right? Maybe you want to monitor the prime contractors so that you can maybe subcontract for some of that stuff. How about federal buyer activity? And do you want to do it yourself? Because I am going to do another shameless plug for both of these. Watch this. Watch this shameless plug, Rafael Marrero. You're going to love this.
Let's see this. Let's do it. Do it.
Ready for it?
Do it.
If you want to do this for yourself, join me today at SAM.gov as the opportunity tutorial for today, because we're going to be reviewing this so that you can do it yourself. Now, if you don't want to do it yourself, where should we go if we don't want to do it ourselves? I wonder where we should go. Where should we go, ladies and gentlemen? Anybody know? You should go to SamRadar.com, where you will win 100% guaranteed. I got a question for you, everybody here. I got a question. This is 100% guarantee that you will get 10 times what you invest in in Sam Radar. I got a question for everybody. Is this a reasonable request? So first things first, you have to maintain your subscription. Of course you do. And then you need to participate in Monday roundtables at least once a month. Anybody here on involved in Monday roundtables, put your hand up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to lower your hand, Nels. I'm going to lower your hand. Anybody here? All right, hang on one second. John, you there? Can you unmute for a second?
Yes, sir.
How important are Monday roundtables?
Oh, they're really important as far as being able to identify opportunities and learn the processes. Mondays are awesome.
They are. It's too much fun for federal contracting, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, way too much fun.
We do have fun. That's the reason. I appreciate you, John. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So that's the second part. Oh, I lost it. Hang on. Go back here. Then, Rob Lundholm, you provide folks with templates to engage, right?
We do. And they are getting a 30% reply rate when reaching out to contracting officers.
Did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? 30% response rate. That's why we can guarantee that you're going to win. That's why. And then after you get the response rate, you still got to follow up. So and what we're saying is 2 emails a week. You can do as many as you want, but do at least 2. And if you follow up with those contacts over the course of the year, you need to follow up with those contacts, and you need to meet with folks like Rob, who will help you. He's a federal advisor at least once every 6 months. So follow up with contacts once a month, send out 2 emails a week, follow up once a month, meet with your federal advisor at least once every 6 months. Is that unreasonable? Does anybody think that's unreasonable?
I can chime in on that, Dave. We are a resource for everything government contract related. Aside from doing legal stuff or actually writing a contract for you, your SAM Radar subscription includes literally everything you would ever need in government contracting. If you're only using it once every 6 months, we can't help.
That's right.
Most of our clients are on us every single week, every 2 weeks. Yeah, if you're only using it every 6 months, you're not getting contracts because you're not understanding the tools at hand.
So they understand the tools at hand. Number one, they need to meet with you at least once every 6 months. You can meet, like you said,
every day,
every freaking day.
Yeah, we have training every day. Pop in, say hello, see what's going on.
Every day, pop in at 2 p.m. or 10 a.m. Doesn't matter. So here, that's the question. Is this a reasonable guarantee? Can you do it? That's my question. If it's not reasonable, let me know, because that's what I want to know. And otherwise, if you want to do it yourself, join me at 1 p.m. today. I will show you how this works for finding opportunities on SAM.gov today, and then the FPDS session. Those are the 2 ways that I help people do it themselves. I give you the way that we make the sausage. I give you how SAM Radar works. Now, the question is, why would you ever want to make sausage when you can just buy sausage? That's my question. All right, so with that, I'm going to go back to our regularly scheduled program. Let me go back here. So that is why, hang on. All right, that is why real-time monitoring matters. And we got the real-time monitoring. Okay, hot seat question number 2. Oh, by the way, if you want to use a real-time tool, the 64% that said they want the real-time tool, samradar.com. Rob, put in something that saves people 10% for signing up at least for the first 3 months. Can you do that for me?
Right now.
Excellent. All right, question number 2. What is most important for businesses come January 20th? Who's hearing what? Who's hearing what? Anybody?
Hey, Dave.
Yes.
Align with the new initiatives, right, and directives, right, because there's going to be some changes. So you need to be ready for that. You need to maintain a readiness posture to engage, right?
Engaging. So align and engage. Because if you're not aligned, it doesn't matter what you engage with, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So what do you think, Todd Crane? What are you hearing from everybody out there?
So we're hearing a lot about AI and how to make things more efficient, right? How can the government get the same things done with less bodies? Mm-hmm. And so I mean, we all know the government's bloated. Yeah, there are great people and doing some great things in the government, but there's a lot of waste as well. And so, how can we understand, who can we get rid of and still be able to accomplish our missions?
How do we right size the organization, right? We're not getting rid of any. How do we right size it? It's not about getting rid of people, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about you, Kevin Bookman? What are you hearing from the just being out there in the world?
From my perspective right now, it's a lot of research in terms of what the forecasts are looking like. I know that there's a lot of great information coming through SAM, but some of the forecasts that I've seen are big dollar forecasts that apparently are recompetes, or maybe they're not quite finished yet. So doing some other research, I've seen that there's a lot of contracts out there that were large dollar contracts where only a small part of the actual allocated money was put into it. So I think it's an opportunity for small businesses to get in and perhaps subcontract their way in, or by building that relationship with the CEO or the PMs to prove that you might be worth their time to be able to solve part of the problem that they're not getting from their primes that are doing that work.
Hang on one second.
Hey, Dave.
I want to see if this is the Steve Kennedy, who's one of my favorite people on the planet that I haven't talked to in a while. Is this the one and only Steve Kennedy from Dirt? Can you I'm promoting you to your rightful place. Hold on a sec. Hang on a sec. Is this the one and only Steve Kennedy? It is.
There it is.
It is Steve Kennedy. What are you hearing, man? I just saw what you. Well, welcome aboard. Great to see you, man.
It's a pleasure seeing you. Thank you.
There he is.
So what are you seeing out there, Steve? And tell us about Dirt. What do you guys do?
We are in basically a hybrid off-site fabricated interior construction system that helps the federal government manage CapEx, which is construction, capital project expense, and also OpEx, operating expense, related to their facilities, whether it's healthcare facility, a government office, an educational facility, whatever it is. And we're a 16-year veteran of the GSA multiple award schedule contract business. And we love small business partners.
Did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? They love small business partners. Got to reach out to Steve. Oh, so what are you thinking? So one of the things that we're seeing is that, hey, they're going to say, time to go back to work.
Yeah. Get out of your jammies and come to the office.
Get out of the tub, baby. Get back.
Get out of your jammies.
That's right.
Well, but in the meantime, they're obviously offloading some of their real estate. I think a lot of things are going to be happening over the next few years. At least that's the intention. And you just have to be prepared for change and keep an eye on it and pivot as they pivot. That's it.
I cannot agree.
That's what it's about, right?
And paying attention to what's happening. So one of the things we did on the Monday roundtables is this. I don't know. I can't say that I coined this phrase. I did think it up, unless there's something in my mind worm about this. This is my new phrase. If we are not relevant, we are what? Don't say it. Say it out loud. Put it in the chat. I'm going to give a book away. I'm going to give a Who Moved My Cheese book away. First person that puts it in gets a Who Moved My Cheese. If we are not relevant, we are by default. Steve, Nikita. Oh no, John's got it. Yeah. Irrelevant. You got it, John. I need your address. You can send that to me in the webinar chat to me directly, unless you want everybody else to camp out on your doorstep and steal the one and only book that I'm going to deliver right to your door from Amazon.
Just don't
want anybody to take it from one. If we are not relevant, we are by default irrelevant. Everybody just think about this, because we wake up in the morning, right, Steve Kennedy? We wake up in the morning and we think that we're relevant.
Yeah.
But when we look at it through the eyes of the people that we're reaching out to, if we are by default irrelevant until we make ourselves relevant, right? And the same thing with Jorge Crap. Steve Kennedy says dead. Obsolete. Love that. Keisha, love that.
I would say unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
So that means anything that you do. And John, cancel. Right? Cancel. You're not even canceled. You never got a chance to be, never had a chance to play. Right? If we are not relevant to the buyers that we're talking about, so how are we going to be relevant? It's what matters to who?
What's in it for them?
Them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right?
With them. Yeah.
With them. Right? And what they need. Right? We know what we want and we know what we need. We want to win. We want to win contracts. Right? Right, Steve-O? We want to win contracts.
That's how you feed the bulldog. Yeah. That's how you feed them. Yeah.
So the way that this works, if we can understand, who said that? It was Rafa. You said alignment, right?
Alignment. Yeah.
Alignment. What matters to them? And this is personal and professional. This isn't just, hey, professional. This is also personal. Leverage the change. We're going to talk about leveraging the change in a few minutes, but leveraging the change that's coming. Some of those folks don't want to go back to work, do they, Steve?
Are you kidding? It's comfy at home to just put your slippers on and your robe and walk in with your
I do have a
coffee cup and do your thing.
Your footsies, your footies, right?
I do have a secret that I am wearing my PJs. I didn't plan on that, but hey, I wanted to be comfortable this morning. I got enough stuff to do.
I'm a plant.
Yeah. So if we align with them, what matters to them and what they need, because if we're not solving a problem for them, we're being a problem.
Your noise. Yep.
you're noise. Who wants noise? Nobody does, right? Mm-hmm. And then being relentless in your pursuit, right? Don't give up. Your competitors want you to give up, right, Steve?
Absolutely. I give up, they win. So that's not going to happen.
That's a freaking fact. And even with change, right? You've been through some serious change. With dirt, right?
Yep. Yes, sir. Just a tad.
Just a tad. And you watch the influx. I mean, COVID just about killed some of your stuff, right?
It was awful quiet when everybody from the government and every business goes home to hang out in your type of jammies. Yeah. You're not selling much stuff to those characters. Yeah.
That's right.
But for us, actually, we do healthcare. So we pivoted to help them retool healthcare spaces as well. So
I couldn't agree more. All right. So I appreciate that very much. So being relevant, we're going to talk a lot about that. So getting positioned, how do you get positioned to win in 2025? Todd, tell us, what do you have some pieces that you do individually with your professional piece? You help with CMMC, right?
Yeah, we a whole variety of cybersecurity and compliance things, CMMC being the hot topic right now. But do you want to talk about that or the question about what do we need for 2025?
Well, it's a combination because I think it dovetails.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So if you're wondering about Todd Crane, shameless plug for Todd, Graybeard Cybersecurity, helps small businesses. A lot of folks need this. You don't even know that you need it yet. If you need it if you're in the defense industrial base, right? But
absolutely,
it's coming to a contract near you, right?
Yep, we're the federal CUI rule is currently under public comment, which is laying the groundwork for this to expand into basically all executive branch contracts right now. So for those that don't know, CMMC came out as a DoD program. It took about 7 years to get through all the bureaucracy and everything else. Finally through it. And so now within the last month or so, they put this new rule out saying that all CUI, which is a term for basically non-public information that the government owns, that all non-public information effectively needs to be handled similarly across the entire government. And so we're going to be seeing, basically this is the groundwork for them expanding CMMC across basically, like I said, the entire government. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean CMMC, but are they going to create a whole new program, another 7 years, push through all the bureaucracy, or are they going to go with the one they already have?
No, I've already heard it. I've always been hearing people talking about it.
Yeah,
so one of the things for positioning, right? I've dovetailed this into the positioning for us because if you're not prepared,
Mhm.
right, with that, then you can't play.
Right.
That's the first thing.
And
Same
not
thing
just
happens. I'm sorry, go ahead.
not just for primes, but if you want to sub also, right? Being able to say, hey, look, I already got my certification, right? My audit done. We're already good. Now you're even if you're the same rate as someone else, because all these primes are quantifying risk, you're now cheaper because you pose less risk to them getting the contract.
Don't we have flow downs that occur with CMMC 2.0
Yes.
as well? Yeah. So just because the prime has got it, you better have your ducks in a row too, because he's going to say, I'm not playing with you. I'm going to play with the guy who's got the right certification.
Yeah, and it's if the only exceptions once it's on a contract, the only exceptions are microtransactions and COTS. So if you're selling just straight up COTS equipment or products, then it doesn't apply to you. But if you're doing any kind of engineering support on top of those COTS product, now you're back in the game.
Now, we actually go and install inside facilities. DOD, right. Department of Homeland Security, Department of State, they're all looking for that certification going forward.
In fact, we were just talking on the roundtable yesterday about, I'll use an example. Dave brought up this solicitation or rather a contract award for, an air traffic control tower. Well, if you're not familiar with it, air traffic control tower has a military component to it because they got to be able to scramble the jets, everything else, if there's airspace invasion or I forgot what to call it. But so the contract
incursions, yeah.
Yeah. So basically it was just to redo the caulking on the ATC tower. Well, now you're going to, as part of the contract, you're going to get blueprints for that tower, which is CUI. And because of the DoD component, now it's going to have CMMC requirements. But it also goes down to people like cutting grass on a military base. You get a detailed map of the military base. Bam, that's CUI. Now you have CMMC.
Yep. So one of the reasons I'm bringing this up is you have things like that's been in the works for a decade.
Years. Right? Better part of a decade, yeah.
Yeah, better part of a decade. So that is one thing that's changing. The other thing that's changing is, I think, Rafa, what you said is spot on with our framing of how we present ourselves to these agencies, right? Some of the agencies may be schwacked altogether, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
They're talking about killing the Department of Education, which means if you have contracts in Department of Education, that means what?
You need to start looking for alternative.
Your cheese is moving.
That's right.
That's what it means, right? So, and we saw this happen. This is nothing new. We saw this happen with EPA, right?
Yep.
In the first administration, in the Trump administration, we know that there's going to be significant changes that are happening. So somebody's moving the cheese. The cheese is going to move. And if you haven't read this book, seriously, it is a simple book. It's only this big, Steve. Steve, it's only this big. I can read it in a couple of days.
Yeah, it's a good book. Yeah.
Hey, Dave,
you could probably read it in an hour or two. It's that short. But the simplicity of this is so awesome because it's talking about, hey, the cheese is gone. There's 4 mice. 2 of them, as soon as they see the cheese gone, bam, they're gone because the cheese isn't there. And then you have him and Hall. They just sit around hemming and hawing about the fact that their cheese is no longer there. And that's not everybody here. If there's anything that everybody walks away from today, do not sit around and hem and haw about the cheese. It's no longer there.
Yep.
Move. Get on the move and watch things.
Ringo.
And so one of the things I think is really important, Rafael Marrero and for a shameless plug for Rafa, what do you do, Rafa? Tell everybody what you do.
Well, I help companies get ready for these changes, right? I help them with their posture and with their positioning strategy from a visual and content standpoint. We help with contractor marketing and branding strategies. And by the way, as an economist, I also develop good, solid business plans for expansion, right? So that you can develop a path forward. I happen to write for a couple of newspapers like this one here in both Spanish, English, and in Portuguese. In this case, I'm analyzing the changes with the Mexico, Canada, U.S. trade agreement and what that means in the new administration, because we're getting a lot of calls from all of LATAM in terms of what's going to happen. So I've been talking about this in the news and writing about it. But we help you with your capability statements. with your capabilities briefings, with video capability statements, and also we develop content that's relevant and prepared and primed for government buyers and for government contracting, for the government contracting arena. So that's really what you get from us. If there's anything we can help you with, and by the way, I believe that we have someone on, Nikita Van Kirk is on, and we actually gave her a free 15-minute.
Let's hear from Nikita. Let's see what Nikita, you there?
I am.
Now you're also in the Monday roundtables every once in a while, I think, right?
Yep.
So you're, and I love your participation a couple weeks ago was just ridiculous.
Thank you.
It was ridiculous. So anyway, give a shout out to Raphael. What did Raphael do for you?
So we've been in the government sector for about 3 years. And on last Monday's roundtable, he had offered a free 15-minute meeting just to review your capability statement. And we did that, but he took it a step further, which was amazing. So our capability statement just needed a few tweaks, which we've already got sent through our marketing team, which was amazing. But then he also took it a step further and went to our website and went to our SBA profile, all in 15 minutes, and gave us a whole new look on how we can better promote ourselves to the people that we are bidding through the government sector, and how we can align and make it easy for the end user to find what they need on our website. And I would 100% recommend. I did give him a shout out on LinkedIn. I shouted out in the chat because it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And I got a good coffee recommendation out of it. So double the best.
Love it. So
Thank you.
My question is, do you need some help getting prepared? That was a shameless plug and a setup, Rafa. And
That was like
Nikita,
Bob
thank
said
you very
spike,
much.
but it was true.
It's true.
It's
I
not
love it.
commercial.
Thank you, Nikita. You're awesome.
Thank you, Nikita. You're awesome.
Love it. All right. So with that, I am going to let you know we did set up you there as well with the CMMCs at the bottom, capability statements, presentation decks, marketing materials. One of us is going to be communicating with you as you fill those out. Here's the setup that I have. I'm going to set this up. I love where we're headed. So with change comes opportunity. We talked about it before. Leveraging that change. Here is the fact. Rob Lundholm, we can never win what we never see. We can't win. So if we're not paying attention to them and monitoring, right? So we're going to talk about engagement in a minute, because you're going to take your capability statement that Raphael helps you do, and you're going to push that out to people, and we're going to talk about what you look like and what you want to really look like, right? So first things first, monitor real time. If you didn't see the 400% increase in RFIs and sources saw it, it's because you never saw it. It's because you weren't watching it. We saw it right out of the gate, right, Rob? And we started doing it. Then we heard Sam Radar people telling us about it. And then we put out a special briefing just for that. For Sam Radar members and other folks, we just looked at that so that you guys can take that. And then we want to engage, right? And here's what I've come up with. If those of you on the Monday roundtables know where I'm headed, right? Let's get real about our first engagement. Now, first things first, Steve, you haven't been there for a while. This is what the feds think we look like with our first time we communicate with them. You ready for this, Steve?
Got to move your survey. Yeah.
Oh, I do? Am I sharing?
Yeah, you got it.
All right, there you go. Oh, you got to move the survey.
All right, I got rid of it.
All right.
There you go.
All right. So let me end this. I'm gonna end this survey so that everybody can see.
Yeah.
That's what we look like to the feds. You know, what's worse than that? What's worse than that, Steve? We think we look like this.
Oh yeah.
Hey Dave, I don't appreciate you putting a photo without my beard.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's good.
And I said yesterday that I have been mistaken for being Brad Pitt, and then Rafa promptly said,
Yep. I said, listen, not Brad, his younger brother, Armpit.
Oh, it's a tough room.
It is a tough room, isn't it, Steve?
And that was like
I can't come that often. You guys beat me up.
So we think we look like this. Not only that, we think the first conversation, we're going to put a ring on it, and we're going to have $8 million worth of Octomom babies out of the first conversation, Steve.
Yeah, go by the rule of 12s. You got to touch them 12 times.
That's right. So if we are not relevant, we are by default irrelevant. So I love what you said, Rafa. You didn't even know I made this slide. We need to align with what they need. We need to be personal and professional, which means you got to look like you belong. Otherwise, you what, Rafa?
You're adios.
You don't belong, right?
You're risk. You are high risk.
And we need to be relentless in our processes to do it. I'm going to show you exactly what to do. Because I said that, remember the 100% guarantee, right, Rob? 100% to make 10 times, 1,000% ROI. How you're going to start this, I'm going to start it in 2 minutes. We're going to do one thing every day. I'm going to show it to you, what we're going to do, right, Rob?
Yep.
We're going to find, these are awards. That means you lost, right? This is an award for almost $900,000 in change. Just the other day, number of offers received, what? Not reported. That's a BPA call, which by default means it didn't hit SAM.gov, right? Right, Todd?
Right.
By default, this doesn't. So we only have one thing that we can do. We can reach out to, we had a couple things actually, but I'm going to say the one thing I want you to do. I want you to hit this button. I would say, hey, I want to chat with you, Liz, about the award that you made to Serco. And within the first 7 days, you are going to find, I promise you this, if you don't, then you don't belong on SAM Radar. You are going to find buyers that you don't know. You're going to find companies that are winning that you don't know, and you're going to see things that never showed up on SAM.gov. I promise you that in the first 7 days, you're going to know that SAM Radar is working, and your job is to engage. And the way that we engage is we're going to do it in 2 minutes, and Rob has templates for you on SAM Radar to engage. Because if we do this, how you can be relevant right now, the relevance, the reason why they respond, right, Rob, is because you're relevant because you're talking about a contract that they did. That's relevant.
Just don't say that all that in the first email. Keep it short and sweet.
No. In fact, you want to say very little in the first email. And as sexy as Rafael Marrero is going to make you look with your capability statement, you're not going to send it. They don't want to see it yet. That doesn't matter to them yet. It has nothing to do with their need yet. You want to be after them and get the dialogue. Without dialogue, you have nothing. They're going to file 13 everything that you send to them because you're not relevant yet. If you want to be relevant, pull the thread on that contract, because if we're not relevant, we by default are irrelevant, and that's why you need SAM Radar. And with that, I'm going to give you one more poll. Then we're going to get you guys out of here with some final comments. Let me do this. Where's my final poll? Where's my final poll? Let me see. Needs professional help. All right, let's see if I can find it. Where's my professional help? Here we go. There it is. All right. So real-time matters because if you don't see it, you can't possibly win it. You can't influence anything if you don't know that the activity is coming. If you want to do it yourself, join me today on GovBrief, and it'll be at 1 o'clock. You going to hop on with me, Rafa?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
And Brian Hebel's going to come a little bit late. Brian Hebel's a former contracting officer. Talk about that in a minute. For the folks that were here today, we've been working with folks since 2009, and that is over 500 million. It's over 2 billion now. I need to update that. We can help folks reach. We are always looking for folks to help. If you need help reaching federal folks, whether it's contracting people or program people. If you want to reach Govies, check that out on GovBrief. Check out Rafael Marrero and his abilities with capability statements, briefings, videos, websites, business cards. I love your business cards. They're like mini capability statements. Love them.
Right.
Sally wasn't here, but Swati is here. She was been paying attention, sort of. But
Sort of.
Sally's traveling. She helps folks. The reason she's traveling is because she helps represent people at places, right, Peter Timbus?
Absolutely, and she's very good at what she does.
Super good.
Best.
Yeah, especially if you want to, or if you
that?
want to intro at a trade show or something. She's the person to talk to. Maybe you don't know how to approach, one of these big buyers at a trade show. Have Sally by your side, and she'll
Amazing.
she'll
She's
make it
amazing.
work.
She
really
is.
is.
She's
amazing.
ridiculous, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Todd was talking about CMMC. If you're interested in that in cyber security for your company, very important. He also understands the federal world. Just former Raytheon. What else do you want? And former Marine Corps.
And how to grow a beard.
And how to grow a beard.
How to grow a beard.
Yeah. And it's for those of you who don't know, for people that are retired, they call it the freedom beard because he couldn't grow it while he was in there.
You're supposed to be able to say, "I've been out for this long."
That's right. I've been out for this long.
Yeah.
Denise didn't join us today, but she will be joining us. For-profit grants is a way to be able to fund stuff for in your company. So be watching out for that. Peter
She's
Timbus
awesome
is.
too, Dave. She really is awesome. She knows her stuff.
Oh, she
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Free money.
Yeah.
Free money. Love that.
Yeah.
And then Peter Timbus with TFN helps folks with their funding. And it can be any type of funding, but you specialize a lot within 8A firms and other small businesses, right, Peter?
Correct.
And you lend to the opportunity. Not that you don't care about financials, but you know what the government means when they win an opportunity. That means the funds are going to get paid by the government, right?
Yes.
So you can lend to it.
We do get financial statements just to get a snapshot of
Yeah.
where you currently are, but we're going to lend to your opportunity. And again, it's a big game changer for our clients.
Mhm.
Got it.
And Peter delivers. I can vouch for that.
That's a fact. And Brian Hebel wasn't with us. He selfishly is working with a major prime today, so I'm going to bust on him for that. He'll actually join me today. He's also joining me on the 18th. If you're interested in HHS, expiring contracts, and socioeconomic set-asides, join that session. It includes a ton of contacts associated with expiring contracts, and it's not cheap because there's like 100 hours worth of work that went into that. So join that for that, and for joining us today. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody popping up. We started out with Peter. I was like, it's just going to be me and Peter today. No, we got Todd and we got Steve, and we got Kevin Bookman. We had a whole bunch of great folks. Appreciate everybody joining us today. We're going to get you guys out of here. Steve Kennedy had to bounce to a meeting, selfishly as he was. But yeah, feel free. Oh, the webinar chat. I don't think you can do the webinar chat. I don't think you can. But
I'm sure we'll send it out, right?
I can. And if you're nice, if you're nice, I'll send it out. I'm gonna say I saved the chat so we could do that. All right, folks. You got anything else you need from me? Please reach out. And I appreciate you guys joining us today. Thanks, Rob Lundholm, for putting things on first too. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.